Welcome to r slash I don't work here lady, where an entitled Karen accidentally gets herself arrested. My best friend and roommate works for a small independent print shop as a graphic designer. We live in the burbs and the shop is located downtown, about half an hour from our house. Oftentimes, I'll be downtown for an appointment of some kind and will ride home with her rather than take the train. Usually by 4 p.m., the only people left in the shop are her and a specific coworker, so I'll just hang out in the front area of the shop with my laptop. At 5 p.m. they lock the door, and then both of them gather their things up over the next 15 to 20 minutes before actually leaving. They're often out of sight, packing up in the back. Last Friday was one such day. At around 5:10, a lady came up to the door of the shop, a glass door. She saw me sitting there and started tapping on the door. I looked up and mouthed, "The shop is closed." She yelled back, "I have a question." I pointed at my wrist and said loudly, "I'm sorry, the shop closes at 5 and I don't work here." She grabbed the handle on the door and started shaking it as if she could magically make the door open, and then started pounding on the door again. So I set down my laptop and walked over to the door. She screamed, "I only have one question. Can you let me in so I can talk to you?" At this point, screaming was really not necessary as we were only separated by a glass door. I said, "Ma'am, I don't work here and the door is locked from the inside by a key I don't have. I can't let you in." She screamed, "Why are you being such a butthole? I know you're closed, but it's one question." Then, to emphasize her point, she slammed her open palm on the glass door, which absolutely shattered. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. It's not like it cracked and spiderwebbed out. It just went to shards and fell to the ground. Fortunately, I had stepped back. The lady blinked in shock and then started to speed walk away. Fortunately, we are in a massive metropolitan city, and I was able to follow her only half a block before I saw a police officer standing on the street. The officer walked us both back to the shop with the woman ranting about how it wasn't her fault, and if I had just let her in, blah, blah, blah. The police officer called for backup and 2 more officers arrived. And by this time, my friend and her coworker had come up front. They took another officer back to look at the security footage, which is digitally captured. And that was pretty much that. The lady got arrested on the spot, and I had to give a statement. And I'm told I'll probably have to testify in court on behalf of the shop owner to get a civil penalty added onto criminal charges and help them avoid small claims, which I'll gladly do. So, what I'm dying to know is, what was her question? My guess is that it was something like, "Where can I buy that new r slash merchandise? I just love the haircut on the new hoodie and I can't wait to buy one." Well, Karen, I've got great news for you. You can find the link to buy my new merchandise in the link down below. Our next Reddit post is from Cohesive Curmudgeon. I've read a lot of Karen stories on this subreddit, but I've never met one in the wild until last week. It was hot last week, 33 degrees Celsius, 91 Fahrenheit, but felt like 42 Celsius, 108 Fahrenheit. I had some birthday party items to pick up for a work-related function. I was in my summer uniform, a shirt, no jacket, and I went to Walmart because they've got a decent party section and fantastic air conditioning. I found my way to the right section and chatted briefly with the sales associate. I started gathering the supplies I needed and putting them into my cart. I pulled one item, and that caused a cascade of everything else behind it to fly onto the floor. My mother always taught me that if you make a mess, clean it up. So I squat down and start putting the stuff I spilled back on the shelf. Then, from over my right shoulder, I hear, "Ahem." I kept putting the stock back. Shame on me for not responding. I hear a voice that's somewhere between the caw of a crow and the rasp of a 30-year, 2-pack-a-day smoking habit. "I'm talking to you. Stop stocking the shelves and tell me where the art supplies are." I turned my head, and there before me was a vision standing. 40-ish years old with an asymmetrical haircut, laden with gold-colored jewelry. Colored because there were green marks around her neck. In a pink sports bra and short shorts made of this amazingly strong synthetic knit fabric. She obviously firmly believed one size does indeed fit all, but missed the part about it shouldn't. I said to this woman, one of God's own very special creations, "I'm sorry, but I don't..." Cut off. "You're a manager. Tell me where the art supplies are." I rephrased, "I don't work here. Can't help you." She wanted to talk to my boss and threatened to call corporate to let them know their managers are lying about working there to avoid helping customers. Then she launched into a string of invective worthy of a longshoreman. So I stood up and turned to face her. She was dumbstruck. Her mouth was moving, but no sound was coming out. And she had gone pale under her shoe leather tan. Now, to be fair, I was wearing a light blue shirt and dark gray dress pants. But it's my uniform that made the difference. I have a white collar type of job. I'm the chaplain at a medium security prison, the chaplain for a group of World War II veterans, and the chaplain for a group of Afghan war veterans being treated for post-traumatic stress syndrome. This last group is the one I was shopping for. You know you've been hanging around military veterans when cursing doesn't even faze you anymore. So there I was in my light blue shirt with my clerical collar. I asked her, "Do you kiss your children with that potty mouth?" Then I told her that corporate doesn't have a phone. But if she wanted to talk to my boss, she could do so directly on Sunday at the church just a few blocks away from the Walmart. By this time, her vocal cords had recovered, but the only sound coming out was a cross between a squeaky door hinge and a chicken that just laid an egg. I turned and pushed my cart down the aisle towards the checkout. The sales associate I spoke with earlier was just around the corner. Apparently, he came back to the aisle to see what the screeching was about and had seen the ending. He was doubled over with silent laughter, holding his sides. All he could do was mouth, "Thank you," and I was off. A man on a mission. And this is super rare, but OP actually included a picture of what he looks like in his uniform. And yeah, he obviously does not work at Walmart. To be honest, I'm surprised that the Karen didn't hiss and run away when she was confronted with a cross. Our next Reddit post is from Perpetually Polite. So, as part of my actual job, my company sends me to different clinics to audit their invoices to ensure insurance companies aren't getting scammed for unnecessary or unperformed patient procedures. It happens more than you know. Normally, when I'm at a clinic, they'll stick me in an unused office or cubicle so I'm out of sight and don't interfere with their normal operations. However, yesterday during the clinic visit, they didn't have anywhere to put me except the front desk with the receptionist. This wasn't a problem for me since it does happen on occasion and I'm just there to get the job done and head out. So I'm sitting there in the front office desk looking over the clinic's documents when the receptionist gets called back to assist with the patient. After a few minutes, I hear someone cough slightly to the right of me and look up. I'll call her Karen because she had the haircut and the attitude. She says in a rude voice, "I've been standing here for the past couple of minutes and you've yet to acknowledge me. You should be ashamed of yourself. Is this how your clinic is run?" "I'm sorry, ma'am. The receptionist just stepped out for a moment. She'll be back soon. I can't help you as I don't work here." She looks me up and down like she's judging how I'm dressed. I should mention that I'm dressed in standard business attire. Blazer, shirt, tie, and black slacks with my company logo and name tag hanging from a lanyard. "How stupid do you think I am? You're sitting at the front desk of a clinic dressed like that and you don't work here? I should file a complaint against you with your boss." "Listen, ma'am, I've already told you I don't work here. Take it or leave it, but I work for a company name and I hold up my badge. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to work," and ignore her. "How dare you? Do you know who I am? My husband works for the owner of this clinic and he'll be hearing about your poor customer service skills." Me, still looking at documents. Good for him. I repeat, I don't work here. Wait for the receptionist. Karen tries to change tactics and fake smiles at me. "Look, I'm sure you're busy, so I won't take much of your time. All I need to know is my daughter-in-law's next OB appointment. Her name is blank. It shouldn't take you too long to find her in your calendar. I just need to know what time it is so I can be here to meet her. Me, now looking at her. Are you deaf? I've already told you I don't work here, and even if I did, you're asking me to violate HIPAA laws. Do you know how serious that is? You need to ask her directly if she's actually willing to have you with her. Though, I doubt it. You don't know what you're talking about. That jerk should have told me when she was scheduling her first ultrasound. That's my grandchild in there, and I need to be here to see him. Now, tell me when her appointment is, otherwise I'll have you fired. You need help, lady. You need to leave now before I have someone call security. You're threatening me? The doctor and receptionist hear the loud commotion and come out to the front desk. The doctor says, "What's going on here?" This woman doesn't understand that I don't work for you, and she's trying to find out her in-law's appointment. The Karen, now panicking. Your receptionist has been useless and won't give me the information I've asked for. He needs to be fired. The actual receptionist says, he doesn't work here. Doctor, I'll take care of this. And she intercoms the security office. Hi, we need a guard to come to Office Blank to escort someone out. She's disturbing one of our vendors, and says thank you once they confirm someone will be here shortly. Once Karen realizes she's about to be escorted out, I'm not leaving. I have a right to know how my grandson is doing. I have a right. She starts shouting profanities at us for a couple of minutes when a burly security guard arrives and tells her to leave. Otherwise, he'll call the police on her for trespassing. She refuses, so he grabs her by the arm and drags her screaming out of the office. That was the last I saw of her, but the receptionist called the daughter-in-law to inform her what just happened. After the call, the receptionist laughs and tells me that the in-law didn't want the woman anywhere near her and her baby to be. It seems her and her husband are no contact, which explained part of the craziness. I wonder why the daughter-in-law went no contact. Probably because this woman believes I have a right to a baby that isn't mine. Our next Reddit post is from Clickety Clickety. I had been working as a consultant on a major project for a tech firm. I was the subject matter expert on a certain system, an antiquated database program that was basically obsolete, and which this company kept around mostly for convenience. I'd been with the company about a year, and only ended up as a subject matter expert on that system because the other SMEs had quit. Why, you ask? Well, the project manager over the product using that system, Jim, was a nightmare. Lack of communication, flexible due dates that spanned weeks and threw curveballs at the last minute, demands of time tracking in multiple systems, none of which were actually utilized unless they were trying to prove someone was doing something wrong. It was a mess. I found another job and put in my notice. A full 3 weeks notice just to make sure they could find someone. They never scheduled me to train anybody, so I assumed they found someone who had experience in the system. I turned in my keys and computer, and then I left. About a week later, I got a call from Jim. We need you to come in and fix an issue we're having. I'm sorry, I don't work there anymore, I said, thinking that maybe the manager had forgotten. I know, but we don't have anyone here who can fix the system, so we need you. He explained the issue. It only needed a few hours of work to fix. Alright, if you would like me to work on the system, then I'm willing to help, but I'll have to charge you by the hour at a contract rate. And it will have to be after hours because I have a new full-time job. The manager balked. No, you will come in and work at your original hourly rate. No, I explained as carefully as I could. First, since I'm not your full-time employee anymore, I have none of your full-time benefits. Second, this will be after hours and, from my perspective, overtime work. So again, I'm happy to help you, but it will be at a new rate per hour. That's stupid. You know how to fix this. This should be easy for you. I'm not paying you the new rate for something you already did at old rate. At this point, I lost my patience. I am not bartering with you. Take my rate or don't. Next time you call, it'll go up. Now listen here, you I hung up. He called back immediately. I picked up the call. I need you to come fix this now, he seethed into the phone. I can do that, I said politely. My rate is the new rate plus $50 per hour. You can't do that, Jim shouted. I am not paying you extra to new rate plus $75 per hour. No, you're uneffing. New rates plus $100 per hour. Keep going, Jim. I have all day. There was a really long pause. New rate. I will do that, but nothing more. I'll be honest with you guys, I really considered doubling down for the elevated rate. But at the same time, I know a win when I see it, so I took the job. I assume he did find a new expert because I never did another job for them again. Yo, how are you gonna threaten an employee who doesn't work for you anymore? Come into work and do this thing or you're fired. Okay dude, fire me. Later. That was r/I don't work here lady, and don't forget to check out the new items on my merch store. You can find the link to my store in the description below.